Hey guys, this is Cindy with Katie Cakes, and I just wanted to take a minute to show you this little cake I've been working on. I did some buttercream rosettes, and I just wanted to kind of show you guys how to do those. It's a really fun and easy technique that anybody could do. We're starting with a crumb-coated cake, and you can see here I did not spend a lot of time trying to get this bottom layer of frosting completely smooth. It really doesn't matter. We're going to come right back here and pipe over the top of it. So I've chosen to use tip number 96, and this is a small piping tip. I have a larger rosette tip that I like to use for bigger cakes, but with this little 6-inch cake, I wanted to go small. So we're just going to press the piping tip gently onto the cake and then use a circular swirl motion to get these little rosettes piped on. And you can see here, those first three, those are not the same at all. I'm struggling a little bit with finding the right angle to hold my piping bag with the camera set up in front of me. And I think I'm actually going to, right there, start going counterclockwise, which seemed to work a little bit better for me and gave me some more definition with the rosettes. And also, it felt a little bit more natural, so the rosettes will be a little bit more consistent. They're not exactly the same on this cake. You can tell that I'm still kind of struggling with getting the piping bag in the right position. And you can also, I used my pointer finger of the opposite hand to help steady the bag a little bit since I was shaking, just a tiny bit. But you'll continue to just pipe these little rosettes around the base of your cake. And I'm going to get a few more of these down. And then we're going to move up and do our second row of these right on top of the first row. We're going to use this darker color for about 3 rows of rosettes and then move to our lighter blue color and then finish with white at the top to give us that ombre look to our cake. So right here, as we start our second row, you'll see that I'm going to place my piping tip between 2 of the rosettes on the bottom. And this just helps you to kind of get your rosettes a little bit tighter together so that you don't have a lot of your crumb coat showing through from below. And if you're concerned that you might not be able to get your rosettes piped really close together, you can always do as I've done here and just kind of put that base color down on your crumb coat so that if you do have a little space in between a few of these rosettes, you won't really notice it as much with that matching frosting color down beneath it. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit for you guys. I'm going to get that second and third row of rosettes down. And then we will we'll refill our piping bag with the pale blue color and then start in on the first row of those. Again, I always start in between the 2 on the bottom so that I don't get any space in there. And you can tell here a little bit that my consistency of my frosting was not quite right for this layer. The dark blue frosting was a very stiff consistency, and that really gives you good definition with your rosettes. And here, I think you can see that I've lost some of the definition with these rosettes. They're not quite as detailed as the ones below, but that's okay. This is a little cake for a small ladies group at church, so we're not too worried about getting everything completely perfect on here. So I'm just going to pipe this last row of blue, pale blue here, and then we'll come back over the top with the white to finish it out. I'm just getting my piping bag refilled, giving my hand a little bit of a rest, and then here we are with the white. And you can tell that these have a little bit more definition, kind of like that darker blue color down there. I love this technique, y'all. It is so easy and fun. So we're just kind of finish out the top, and then you'll get to see the finished cake with piped rosettes. Isn't that pretty? And I actually decided to go back later and try a watercolor effect on it. So you'll see here that I'm going to take my little bench scraper and we're going to just align the long edge with the cake, and then the bench scraper is just going to rest on the cake board so that I know that I'm holding it straight up and down. And then you just use light pressure to scrape the excess frosting from the cake. Sorry about that, I bumped the camera. So we're going to come back in and we're going to do that again, just making sure that the scraper is resting on the cake board. And then when you turn your turntable, it kind of does the work for you. You just hold that scraper still and then turn your turntable, and it'll give you that pretty watercolor effect. I love how the colors kind of blend into one another. Super, super pretty. So I'm just going to do this a couple of times. You can see that piping those rosettes has left quite a few air bubbles that we're going to need to take care of, because you don't want little holes in your frosting. It just doesn't look very neat. So I'm going to come back in here and just take some of my white buttercream in a piping bag. It actually still has the rosette tip on it, so that's not important. We're just going to kind of fill in our little holes here. And I did choose to use the white because I wanted to soften that dark blue a little bit more and just fade those lines between the dark and medium blue just a little tiny bit more. For some cakes, I want that sharp line between one color and the next, but for this cake, I kind of wanted it to fade together. So I'm even going to come back with a little bit of that dark blue and put it in the medium blue just to fade the lines a little tiny bit. So once you get your colors on there, we're going to do the same thing with our bench scraper and just take it around the outside of the cake and just apply gentle pressure and scrape off the excess frosting. And you can see right there between that dark blue and the light blue layers, it's really starting to lighten it up a little bit and fade those colors together a little bit better. So there's that technique. You can be as finicky as you want to with it. It's fun for me. I like to just kind of play with it. So I'll probably work on this just a little bit more and see if I can't get it super smooth and pretty and get all those air bubbles out. So yeah, there it is, guys. Thanks for watching.